So the increasing government regulation of data privacy is having a really big impact on digital marketers. First, there were the technical restrictions on cookies and mobile devices, as well as the obfuscation of other personal signals like IP and email addresses. And those are having the most direct effect on marketing techniques. But the actions of local and national government entities may ultimately prove even more challenging for organizations to deal with. And that's because the governments, especially in the US, are just not aligned on some of the conflicting principles that privacy laws are bringing to the surface. Specifically, many privacy laws require deletion of data upon request by a user or when it's outlived its disclosed purpose for being collected in the first place. But others require certain data to be retained for periods that may vary depending on the category of the data and the region in which it was collected. And this can lead to complicated situations where these requirements may appear to be in conflict, and that could worsen if states and regions continue to pursue the enforcement of local laws outside their geographical boundaries. But regardless of how the privacy landscape unfolds, digital marketers must plan for more consumer adoption of privacy protection countermeasures as people become more attuned to the hazards they may face from digital surveillance. For example, widespread tactics, such as the use of IP addresses to infer the location of a website visitor and provide localized content, are likely to become less reliable as more consumers adopt VPNs and similar techniques to mask their location and opt out via privacy changes in platforms such as Apple's iOS. So, as consumers embrace new power to avoid identification and tracking, digital marketers can expect these privacy protection behaviors to reflect a growing lack of trust in any institutions that collect data without explicit consent, especially among younger cohorts. As a result, I think digital marketers can expect a few things. First, their investments in digital personalization, in ad tech and CRM products are going to require significant upgrades to remain compliant and viable. Second, there's going to be a lot of difficulty in establishing these kind of loyal relationships with consumers who are not familiar with or trusting of a given brand. Third, they need to offer consumers more transparency and control of personal data through better consent and preference management tools, including the ability to expeditiously remove their data on demand. And finally, more challenges in establishing the effectiveness of ad campaigns and customer analytics are inevitable. And this will lead to greater difficulties in optimizing media and customer experience investments, which in turn is likely to accelerate interest in some more advanced AI techniques to fill the gap, which require more expertise and, frankly, more caution to work with. So in summary, how should marketers respond to new consumer preferences and privacy needs? To avoid becoming embroiled in legal and social controversies, organizations must identify and refine their data collection and retention policies, and where possible, they must reduce or even eliminate data processing practices that could expose them to any sort of partisan demands for disclosure or deletion. Specifically, you need to reduce expectations for the generic availability of personal data for marketing and personalization. There's been a long history of data available from third parties for these purposes, but that's coming to an end. And you're going to need to audit customer data and analytics processes to assess the potential impact of these reductions in data fidelity and data retention. You need to prioritize the initiatives that offer users more control and make better use of things like synthetic data and self-selected segment-level communication strategies that don't rely on personal data at all. You need to perform or support a privacy impact assessment that covers all the personal data processing activities. And you need to communicate the applicable rights and policies and potential legal risks to employees and customers as thoroughly and transparently as possible. You need to adopt data minimization policies that limit personal data that's collected and retained. And finally, you need to ensure that your organization's privacy impact assessment identifies all the personal data collection points and traces the flow of the data within and beyond your organization. You need to verify that personal data is either protected or destroyed at all stages of that journey, even if its sensitivity is not immediately obvious. Be especially cautious of data shared with external parties through tags and other automated mechanisms. The accelerating deprecation of various personalization, security, analytics, data collaboration, and tag management practices will disrupt operations across the entire enterprise, especially the ones that are involving third parties. But beyond data retention, business leaders need to prepare the wide-ranging audits and strategies for these heightened sensitivities, the emotions, and even the liabilities associated with all the related privacy issues involved.